Hey friends, this is your friendly neighborhood podcast host, Patrick. Hey, I'm gonna do something right now that I'm not comfortable with. I'm just not comfortable with. I don't like doing this. I don't want to be that guy, but I'm gonna be that guy. Because the whole premise of this podcast is doing things that maybe we're not comfortable with, that gets us out of our comfort zone, that sort of breaks the status quo. So here it is. I'm gonna ask a couple things of you. One, if you haven't done this already, if you could subscribe. Two, rate and comment. Listen, the platforms like Apple Podcasts and Spotify live and breathe by that. And so in order for this thing to grow and to make it worthwhile, we need to expand the tent of Terrible Photographer. And it'd be amazing if you could help with that. That'd be so cool. Part two of this is just maybe share the podcast in your Instagram feed. Again, I will never say smash the like button. If I ever say smash the like button, I give you permission to come to my house and smash me in my face. I don't want to do that. But what I want to do is just to let more people in on this conversation. Okay, cool. All right, with that being said, let's get into it. She was topless, reading a copy of Vogue, perched sideways on the lid of a sage green toilet, one leg on the sink, leaning back against a cream-colored wall. I was crouched in the bathtub with a 28 to 70 millimeter f2 lens, acting like this was a normal Tuesday. And in that moment, framing her through a beautiful, refracted window light and a kind of beautiful defiance, I thought, we're not in Kansas anymore, Toto. But we'll come back to that. There's a moment, and maybe you've had it too, where you open your website, your portfolio, and you scroll through your overview gallery and you think, God, who the fuck took these? Because it couldn't have been you. Not you now. Not the you who's seen some shit. What's staring back is a sterile, soulless, and designed for approval. A perfectly safe prison built out of softboxes and mood boards and mid-tier commercial polish. You used to chase light, not because you wanted to even, but because you didn't have that fancy pro photo kit you do now. Now you chase invoices. You used to break the rules because you didn't know any better. But now you teach them. You used to shoot with your gut. Now you shoot with a brief, 3 rounds of revisions, and a gnawing fear you might lose that client if you reveal too much about you. And here's the real mind fuck. It worked. You got gigs. You nailed the shot list. You were a good little content making machine. And somewhere in all that success, your voice crawled into the corner and died. My name is Patrick Four. This is the Terrible Photographer podcast, and today's episode is called Stinky Dead Mouse.
Catch it, put it in a jar to have and to hold. To save for later, you cannot trust it to come again. To wait for you to find a pen and fill the paper with the message that it wants to send. Grab it, hold it by its tail before it escapes. You know its ways and you cannot lose it, that's what you fear. So hold it up against your ear and very carefully listen to what it wants you to hear. Whoa, 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 whoa.
Part 1. Style as a straitjacket. Let's talk about style. At first, it's a revelation, a second skin, a miracle that someone finally sees your work and says, I know that was you. But eventually that skin just doesn't breathe. It hardens and cracks, becomes an armor, and then finally a cage. You made something that worked once, and now you're stuck selling photocopies of it to people who don't give an absolute shit about the original. And if you dare to break out of it, if you show up with new work that's raw and experimental, maybe even, God forbid, weird or ugly, you'll confuse your audience. You'll irritate your website editor or your agent. You'll lose out on jobs and end up on the street eating somebody's leftover Chili's potato skins and wondering how it all went sideways. But here's the deal. If your work starts boring the hell out of you, then it's already dead. And you're just weekend at burning it until the client signs off. And look, maybe you've never even taken that kind of leap. Maybe no one has ever given you permission to take that kind of leap. Maybe you were told it wasn't profitable or practical or worth your time. That was actually me. A few years back, I was deep in my corporate photography job, kind of bored to death, smiling people holding guitars, photographing executives and J.Crew jackets stepping out of Teslas. It was all clean, polished, harmless, but I was quietly dying inside. So I did what we all do when we're looking to get inspired. I went to Pinterest. Then, when that didn't work, I actually went to a library and sat in aisles and flipped through pages of musty photography books that seemed like they haven't been cracked open in 20 years. I must admit, my ADHD was in this manic hyperdrive, cramming like I had a poli-sci final that I forgot about tomorrow. Through my seemingly random and arbitrary pursuit of something I wasn't sure what I was going to find, I became Alice and I chased that fucking rabbit down a hole right into Russian, Eastern European fashion work. This vintage, weird, glam fashion hybrid. It's like Helmut Newton met post-Soviet chaos and lit it all with cigarette smoke. I found images of women in lingerie on cold balconies looking bored, not sexy for men, but sexy for themselves, defiant, self-possessed. Women who look like they lit the cigarette with your rules and didn't even inhale. Any sort of nude work that I've seen before, quasi-nude work, was like tits and ass beach shoots or fake boudoir empowerment stuff that really just all felt like cosplay for validation. But this was raw. This was like power without apology. So I must admit, I took the leap. I put out a call, and one of my friends, Allison, a model friend, was down. So we booked a stylist, a makeup artist, and we ended up in this vintage feeling San Diego apartment with chevron wood floors, canvas wrapped books on hand-stained shelves, and a bedroom that looked like my grandmother picked it out from a 1950s Sears catalog. And the bathroom naturally lit like a French film, this sage green tile, not a modern fixture in sight. And she was topless, reading Vogue, and she was perched sideways on the toilet with one leg on the sink. And I was crouched in the bathtub with a 28 to 70 millimeter lens, shooting like this is normal, like I've done this 1,000 times before. But in that moment, framing her through this beautiful cracked window light, and with all of her defiant attitude, I had this overwhelming sense. We're not in Kansas anymore, Toto. And no, it wasn't about the nudity. I know what you're thinking. It wasn't about rebellion. It was about making something that actually felt free, that felt human. And maybe that's what creativity is. Not necessarily nudity, but not polished, not perfection, not even planned. Just the audacity to make something real, vulnerable, human without asking for permission. And that shoot was really a pivotal moment for me. It fundamentally changed my relationship with the craft of photography. The part that had quietly been dying under layers of art director briefs and product pages and visual style guides, I'd been living in the world of Target campaigns where all the kids were happy wearing color coordinated sweaters, and our diverse and attractive parents laughed and looked on at how perfect their life was. And for the first time in a long time, I wasn't Patrick, the clean commercial photographer. I was somebody making work that he actually had control over. And you know the truth? I got some subtle and not so subtle, passive and not so passive feedback from people that I know about this new direction. My mom called me one day and asked if I shoot naked women now in the most judgmental tone that only a disapproving mother can. Some people, however, loved it. They were encouraging and said that I should pursue it more. There is a French fashion photographer that I follow and I connected with online that actually reached out to me out of the blue and said it was really compelling and interesting, that I should make more of that kind of work. Most people, though, honestly didn't care, but I did. And that was enough. So my question, though, is like, how do you fix the work when you're bored? How do you fix a lame portfolio? How do you remove the stinky dead mouse that's behind the drywall of your work? Well, you got to cheat the system. You make the work that pays the bills. It's the polished, predictable stuff. 60% of your portfolio, your feed, your website, that's for them. For the client who needs to show their boss that you're actually reliable, that you actually know what you're doing. It's for the producer who wants somebody who doesn't blow the timeline. You give them what they're asking for, the clean, digestible, brand safe stuff. But the other 40%, that's your playground. That's your rebellion. That's where the blood returns to your fingers. That's the bass notes of your work. Because great work needs contrast, and portfolios are no different. What's the strange, cinematic, emotionally reckless, beautifully impactful work that no one asked for and that you desperately need to survive? Make the work that is too weird for the grid, and it's too raw for LinkedIn, and it's too honest for the agency brief. Shoot portraits that don't make sense. Light things wrong on purpose. Pick up a camera you don't know how to use. See what happens. Make fake campaigns for fake brands that feel more like you than anything that you've done for a real client. Write your own brief. Build a visual world where that only you could have made. Let it be messy and inconsistent, even if it's a little unhinged. Because that 40%, that's not the bonus round. That's your life support. It's the part that you'll come back to when the client work dries up, or the algorithm tanks, or the well of easy inspiration runs dry. It's the work that you'll be proud of in 5 years. The work that reminds you why you picked up the fucking camera in the first place. Let's just make it practical, shall we? Start by blocking off one shoot a month. That's it. One shoot a month that has no point, no goal, just out of curiosity. Keep a folder on your desktop called I don't know what this is, and put weird shit in there. The misfires, the color grades that you'd never show the client. Here's the thing. Clients may hire you for the work that they've seen, but the right clients hire you for the work that they would have never asked for in the first place. It happens all the time. Not to replicate, not to echo, but to lead. And every once in a while, I'll post one. Watch your response, not the likes or the shares, but the responses, the feedback. That's your people talking back. And it might not all be positive. When you post work that feels like you, when you express your thoughts, your ideas, your feelings, your humanity into your work, that might not resonate with everybody, and that's okay. Provocative work is provocative work for a reason, because it provokes a feeling. It provokes conversation, and it might not all be positive. If the goal is to only produce work that produces positive emotions and positive feelings, then you're like the Thomas Kincaid of photographers. You're just posting happy, inspirational, surface level pop music bullshit that everybody is like, that's nice, but no one will remember. This is segment 4. I want to talk about brand. So I hear this a lot. Personal brand. Well, it's off brand. I don't want to shoot anything that's off brand. Personal brand, not the buzzword bullshit, not the cookie cutter template from Canva that every other soccer mom and weekend warrior photographer is rocking these days. What I'm talking about is your actual brand, the real brand. It's the connective tissue between wildly different things that still feel like you. Because brand is not your logo. It's who you are. It's how you present yourself to the world. It's how you talk to people. It's the thing that people feel when they are around you. It's the clothes you wear to the shoot. And yes, it is the photography that makes up your portfolio, but it's so much more. And there are a lot of people, and maybe you're one of them, that never even thinks about their brand. They are who they are, and they don't give a shit about being intentional. Hats off to those brave souls, but that's not who I'm talking about. I'm talking to you nerds, you know who you are, who have developed such a rigid and immovable set of rules about your business and about your marketing and about your social feeds that you'd rather die than show something on your Instagram that doesn't fall within a certain color palette. Or you think your demographic cares so much that they can't handle the occasional selfie without 2 hours of makeup and 3 hours of work in Vogue. Or if you're like me, for a long time, I would only shoot what is sellable and what is safe that wouldn't offend anyone. I treated my Instagram like just like a second portfolio. Everything needed to be polished and ready to present to the producer. Fuck that shit. I don't care anymore. Too many people treat brand like a set of rules instead of personality. Their brand might look nice and put together, but it has no soul. And people can see through that shit. The overly corporate, polished, pretentious bullshit that has no life to it. And I'm speaking to myself. As a recovering graphic designer, art director, I understand how to design a corporate brand. It's like if I shoot something different, I'll confuse people. Or if I experiment, I'll lose the following that I've built, that maybe a client will see it or a wedding couple will see it and be like, that's weird. I'm not going to hire them. And that's not brand. It's like being captive to your own bullshit. It's creative Stockholm syndrome, you know? And I do want to say something from the jump. I have not figured this out. I too am still oppressive and nervous about posting new things or trying new things. I am not immune from this kind of thinking. I am not standing from the mountaintop saying that I have made it, right? I am walking along with you, whispering that there's a better way to get to the top. Listen, if you're a portrait shooter and tomorrow you start posting muddy, poorly framed high school baseball images because your neighbor begged you to, that's not risk. That's a lapse in fucking judgment. Don't do that. But here's what I am saying. What if you shot a still life image with the same soul you shoot faces with? Same shadows, same storytelling, same color temperatures and care. That's not off brand. That's showing a range. What if you document your kids' playground adventures like you document that wedding with the same sort of storytelling, journalistic quality, black and white and moody and interesting? Seth Godin actually alludes to this. He talks about if Nike opened a hotel, we might all be able to guess pretty accurately what would that hotel be like. Bold colors and sleek design, state-of-the-art gym, staff uniforms that echoes the brand's athletic ethos. It would be unmistakably Nike. But if Marriott tried to launch a sneaker, no one would know what that would be like, because Marriott is a commodity. It doesn't have character. And your brand is not about what you shoot. It's about how you shoot. It's about how you see. And when you evolve that point of view, you're not breaking anything. You're building something stronger. Picasso, for example, look at his blue period, the rose period, the cubism, the surrealism, completely different visual languages, yet unmistakably him every single time. You want a more modern example? Let's talk about David Bowie, Ziggy Stardust, the thin white Duke, the suited elder icon, each a reinvention that made his brand bigger, and it didn't break it. And this isn't deviation. Like some people on Instagram, some guru tries to tell you it is. This is individualization, what Carl Jung called the merging of conscious and the unconscious identity. Evolution that keeps the soul intact. The art world celebrates that. Commerce punishes it. So maybe your next body of work looks nothing like the last. That's good. Maybe it scares you a little, even better. And it might not be off-brand. That might be the first honest thing that you've ever produced or produced in years. So yeah, we're back in the bathroom. Allison reading Vogue, and I'm crouched in the bathtub like a feral raccoon with a camera, and I don't want to go back to normal, because this unplanned, unbranded, unapproved moment feels more true than anything that I've made in years. And no, it wasn't just because there was a topless model in front of me. It was because of the first time in a long time, I was actually making something without fear, without asking permission, without caring whether or not it fit my established brand, or made a mood board, or checked a box, or made my mother proud. I was making something that made me feel alive. And if you're stuck in the loop, making work that's technically okay, perfect even, but emotionally void, maybe it's time to climb into your own metaphorical bathtub. Make something weird. Make something that scares you a little. Make something that doesn't make sense until it does. Because maybe the problem isn't that your work is bad. Maybe it's just that you've been playing it safe. And safe is boring. It never changes anyone's life. So fuck the mood boards. Fuck the script. Light the thing wrong. Break your own rules. Make something that feels like you. Even if no one claps. Especially if no one claps. Even if your mother calls you and tells you she doesn't approve. Okay. Here it is, your challenge for the week. I'm not going to ask you to shoot anything. Again, you're off the hook there. But what I want you to do is I want you to find a quiet moment, and I want you to look at your work. Look at your recent work, look at your past work. Open up your portfolio. And I want you just to reflect and think about and pay attention to not the technical. I'm going to separate that part of your brain for a moment. I know this is really hard, right? Because as photographers, we're so used to looking at our work in a certain way, but that's not how other people view our work. Even art directors or our clients or our brides or whoever else, it makes them feel something. But when we look at our work, it's not like that, right? It doesn't make us feel anything. We're like, oh yeah, that's just the Jones wedding, or that's just the XYZ campaign, or whatever else it is, right? But what I want you to do is pay attention to how you feel about it. What emotions come? Are you proud? Are you embarrassed? Does it make you angry? Does it make you want to take a nap? Or does it get you excited? Right? And I'm not even talking about your portfolio on the macro, on the micro. Look at one image at a time and just pay attention. And write down, like maybe mark down, like, okay, these images these really like, these are the juice, man. And there's gonna be images that you're like, you feel nothing, like flat line, no pulse, everything's dead. And pay attention to that. I'm not saying those images are bad or those images aren't needed, right? But what I want you to focus on are those images that light you up, that get you excited. And really pay attention to that 60-40 rule, right? 60% of the work should get us hired because we all need to pay bills, and that's the work that people need to see. But it's that 40%, right? That's what I want you to pay attention to. Hey friends, a quick reminder, just like I said in the beginning, rate, comment, and then share. That'd be amazing. 2, if you haven't done already, sign up for our email list online. So many of you have done that already, but some of you haven't. And it's such a good way to stay connected and let you know what things are happening and when. The book is coming out at the end of June 25th. I almost said July. June 25th, which is scary because we're working on a lot of stuff. We're finishing up the design of the book and tweaking some things. But pre-orders are coming soon too. With that being said, thank you so much, guys, for your support, your kindness, your kind words. There's so many people that have sent me DMs that have just sort of expressed gratitude. I'm so thankful that some of my words have helped or, have resonated with people. That means so much. So see you next Tuesday. Until then, stay curious, stay courageous, stay kind, and stay terrible.